You don't get to control me, Michael. Her voice cut sharply through the narrow opening of the door, trembling, edged with a tone I had never heard her use. I'm going out with the guys to a club. You can't stop me. We're not married. That last line didn't just land, it sliced clean through my chest. We're not married. As if commitment only mattered when there was a document to prove it. As if the 3 years we'd lived together, built a home, shared a life, meant absolutely nothing. I just stood there in the hallway, her words ringing in the dim light like a gunshot that wouldn't stop echoing. A slow, bitter stillness settled inside me. Not anger, not yet. Just clarity. You're right, I finally replied, my voice so steady it startled even me. We're not married. The doorknob jerked. She flung the door open, her face flushed, hair still damp from a quick shower, eyeliner smudged around her eyes. She looked like she was braced for a fight, a shout, a plea, anything. What she got instead was a version of me that was too calm. Good, she snapped as she grabbed her purse. Then stop acting like my husband. She brushed past me, heels tapping sharply on the wooden floor, leaving behind the faint trail of her perfume, once comforting, now suffocating. The front door slammed a second later. The silence afterward was thick enough to choke on. I walked into our bedroom. The bed was neatly made. Her jacket lay tossed over a chair. Her makeup was still scattered on the vanity. Looking at it all, I felt something inside me hollow out. If she could throw our relationship to the wolves that easily, maybe it had already been bleeding for a long time. My hands moved before my mind fully processed it. I pulled out her small navy suitcase, the one she used for weekend trips. I folded her shirts, her dresses, the lingerie I'd bought her last winter that she'd worn twice and never again. I packed it all neatly. No yelling, no storm of emotions. Just a quiet, final acceptance, like turning the last page of a book I had desperately kept open. When I finished, I carried the suitcase to the porch. The cold night air stung my skin, but I barely felt it. I set the bag down, placed her backpack beside it, and stood there for a long moment. Now you're free, I whispered to the empty air. I locked the door. She came back at 3 a.m. Around 3:12, the knocking began, not gentle, but frantic, urgent pounding. Michael. Mike, open the door. I lay on the couch in the dark, staring at the ceiling. Even through the door, I could hear the alcohol dripping from her voice. I didn't move. Are you serious? She yelled. Why are my bags outside? Are you out of your mind? My phone buzzed next. Open the door. This isn't funny. I sat up slowly. My heart thudded as I typed, selective, calm. We're not dating either. Enjoy the streets. Send. For a few seconds, I pictured her reaction, shock, disbelief, maybe fear. A small broken part of me wanted it to sting the way her words had stabbed me. Then her messages started. Michael, please let me in. We need to talk. I didn't do anything wrong. They're just friends. Please don't do this. I flipped my phone over. It kept lighting up, screen flashing like soft lightning in the dark room. But I didn't open the door. Not that night. Morning light slid through the blinds, cutting lines across the couch where I'd slept. Every muscle felt stiff, but my chest hurt the most. When I opened the front door, she was still there, sitting on her suitcase. Mascara streaks down her cheeks, hair tangled, looking small and fragile in a way she never let herself appear. Her eyes met mine. Can I come in? She whispered. No, I said quietly. You walked out. That's not fair. She stood, wobbling slightly. People say things they don't mean. You said we weren't married. My voice cracked. I cut in because you said it like I meant nothing. Like I had no place in your life. She swallowed. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? Silence. But her eyes, guilty, shifting, answered for her. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me but not opening it. Who was there? I asked. What? At the club. Who were the guys? She hesitated too long. Friends, she finally said. What are their names? Another long pause. That was it, the exact second my trust shattered. I swear I could almost hear it breaking. The truth came in fragments over the next hour. She didn't confess everything, but she confessed enough. Enough to know she'd been texting one of them for weeks. Enough to know she'd gone out with him before, calling it work. Enough to know she hadn't just lied, she'd done it deliberately, repeatedly, confidently. It wasn't cheating, she cried. We didn't do anything. I swear. Then why hide it? Her lips pressed together. Because I knew you'd be upset. That's not an excuse, I said softly. That's the definition of betrayal. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. Michael, she whispered. I love you. You don't treat someone you love like this. More tears. She hugged her arms around herself as if the cold morning air had finally seeped into her bones. Can we fix this? She asked, voice cracking. Please. I looked at her, really looked. The woman I loved. The woman I trusted. The woman who broke that trust with one casual sentence, we aren't married. And a night out that meant more than she would ever admit. The truth was simple. Love can survive a lot. But trust, once broken, rarely grows back the same. I need you to hear me, I said. She nodded quickly, eyes hopeful. I loved you more than anything. But last night showed me exactly where I stand. That's not true, she whispered. It is, I answered. You made your choice. You chose being single over being committed. You said it loud and clear. I was angry, she said. I made a mistake. And I'm making mine now, I replied. I'm choosing myself. Her face crumpled. A soft sob escaped her as she reached for me again. Don't do this. Please. I promise I'll do better. I'll change. We can fix this. Don't throw us away. God, I wanted to believe her. But something in me had already shut down a door she had slammed long before I ever did. I'm not throwing us away, I whispered. You did. I lifted her suitcase and set it beside her. Stay with your sister in Portland, I said. Or with your friends. But you can't stay here. Not now. I need space and you need to understand what you lost. Her breath hitched. Will you call me? Maybe, I said honestly. But not today. A long, heavy silence hung between us. Then she nodded, wiping her face with trembling fingers. She picked up her suitcase and stepped off the porch slowly. Goodbye, she whispered. I didn't answer. I closed the door. The house felt too still, too quiet. Every room held a memory, her laughter, her footsteps, her voice calling my name. It hurt. God, it hurt. But it was a clean pain, one that told me I had done the right thing, even if the wound was fresh. I looked through the window as she climbed into an Uber. She wiped her eyes, glanced back at the house once, and then she was gone. Hours later, my phone buzzed. I'm sorry for everything. I never meant to hurt you. I stared at the message for a long time. Then typed slowly. I hope you find what you're searching for. Truly. But it's not here anymore. For the first time since the night before, I felt something loosen inside me, a knot finally beginning to untangle. Because sometimes love doesn't end with a fight. Sometimes it ends with a sentence, a truth, and a closed door.